Back in the 1990s, Rusty Edminster, a military veteran, interviewed 60 veterans with roots here in Caswell County. In this episode, you will see parts of the interviews that he did with Connie Steadman, Joseph Carter, and Julius Neal Watlington. Our story begins with Julius Neal Watlington.
I often wondered why I'd volunteered for it.
He didn't volunteer. He was drafted.
Well, we were up in the pillboxes.
Okay.
Above this little town of Montage, Germany.
Okay.
And we pulled out of there and we went up northern France with a couple tank divisions and make an attack on the Cologne Plains.
Okay. Plains, right? It's a geographic feature, not airplanes.
And we were up there attacking when the Battle of the Bulge started.
Okay.
So we stopped up there immediately, and they pulled us back around.
Okay.
Back to where we left down there, Monchal.
Oh, okay.
We had taken Monchal, you know.
Right.
But the Germans took back Monchal.
Oh, they did?
Battle of the Bulge.
Okay.
So we were right there next to them. This was Christmas night. We did get a hot meal.
Your birthday?
Yeah.
They must have known.
Christmas night.
You actually got a hot meal.
We were right back behind Monchal, Germany, and we got a
real meal.
Baked hen about 12 o'clock that night.
Okay. Happy birthday.
And on my birthday.
Wow. And this would have been, you would have been 22, right? 22 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how cold was it, Neal? I've heard it was the coldest it's ever been in Belgium that time.
Well, there was a lot of frozen feet.
Right.
A lot of frozen feet. But I had a pair of boots on and a pair of galoshes, and that's what saved me, those galoshes.
Right.
And those fellas that didn't want to wear those galoshes is the one got the frozen feet.
Right. Well, their feet got wet and then cold, right?
All time.
Yeah, somebody told me they had so much trench foot, that was the biggest problem they had.
Yeah.
I mean, their feet just sort of rot in their boots. And how long did the Battle of the Bulge last? 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah.
We took a lot of casualties, I think, too, right?
Right.
But you survived.
Huh?
You survived.
Yeah, I survived. On the 21st of January, we were in a holding position. And there wasn't much activities going on because the weather was so bad, you know.
Right.
And I told the sergeant, his name was Dunbar. I said, Sergeant, I'm still having trouble with my chest. Chest.
Yeah.
I said, is this cold weather? And I said, it's hard for me to breathe sometimes.
Right.
And he said, well, turn yourself in, go to the battalion headquarters. I said, I don't want to do that. I said, I might lose my place up here.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
They'll find another
He
Jeep
says,
driver.
you go down there and have yourself checked out.
Okay.
So he took me to the...
Oh, he did?
To the
aid station?
To the medics.
Yeah, okay.
And they took me back to battalion.
Okay.
We got back out of battalion. They said, we don't have time to fool with you. Says, we're going to send you back to Liège, Belgium.
Okay.
So, got on a bus, got on a medic's truck.
Okay.
And we wound up in Belgium, in Liège, Belgium.
Okay.
About 10 o'clock that night.
Okay.
And when we got in there, this soldier said to us, don't make yourself at home, said I'll be moving out of here pretty soon, you know. He said, we can't keep you here. And the buzz bombs were falling in on us at that time.
Oh, that's something I've never heard before. So the Germans, they were rockets, right?
Rockets.
Not something dropped from an airplane, but a rocket.
Rocket.
Okay.
Well, no, that was, buzz bomb was a V1. I think the V2 was a rocket.
Oh, okay. What was the V1 then?
The V1s were, they flew through the air without a pilot.
Oh, so sort of like a drone.
Right.
Okay. All right. But they were falling in and around you, huh?
The rockets and the V1s both were falling around in the Liège building.
So what'd they do?
They put us on a train.
Oh, on a train now.
Yeah.
You like these trains, don't you?
I got on a train about 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And the next morning, when it stopped.
You weren't in Mississippi, were you?
Huh?
You weren't in Mississippi, were you?
No.
Just
The
kidding.
next morning, I was in Paris.
Really?
Wow. Great big hospital.
Yeah.
In 1941, Neal suffered an injury while playing baseball in Leakesville, North Carolina, known today as Eden, North Carolina. At that time, he broke 3 ribs, but he didn't find out that he broke those ribs until 1945.
They vaccinated me with the biggest needle I've ever seen.
Really?
In my back. And they said, and that's when they told me, said, you had 3 ribs broken.
Wow.
And says they've healed.
Oh, they didn't
He
heal,
showed
right?
them to me on a
X-ray?
X-ray. And they said they healed all right. But says, we're going to give you this treatment.
Right.
And said, we think we'll take the pain out. So it did. And it took it out.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Neal was able to conclude his military service by playing the game he so loved.
I was in this depot, 19th depot,
Okay.
that was about 15 miles out of Paris.
Okay.
And this captain came in and says, Watlington in here? I said, we want to talk to you. And I said, yeah. And held up my hand. And he says, we see on your record that you've had a little experience playing professional baseball.
Wait a minute. Somebody actually looked at your personnel jacket and found out you could play ball, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so what did he say after that?
He says, we're going to have a team here
Really?
at depot headquarters this spring. Would you be interested in staying here and playing with us? And I said, he says, we can use you in the motor pool.
Oh, wow.
As a driver.
Yeah.
You know. And I says, yeah. So that's where I wound up.
Neal earned the Purple Heart and Foreign Legion medals. Next, we will hear from Joseph Carter, Vietnam veteran, United States Army, 1967 through 1968. Joseph's story begins by telling us how he got into the military.
I bet you're going to tell me you got a draft notice somewhere.
Draft notice, I was in Rome, Georgia.
What?
I was in Rome, Georgia doing electrical work at Clotman
Oh,
Mill.
really?
Clotman Mill, Division of Burlington Mill.
Oh, okay, so you weren't even at home when the letter arrived. Did the letter come to your house here?
To my nose, to my mother in.
And did your mother open it for you?
Yes, she did.
And what'd she say?
Called me to me about
Oh, crap. Okay. So, but you were kind of expecting it, weren't you?
a little bit.
Yeah, because the Vietnam War was raging by then.
Yeah, see, when I went in, I was 24 years old.
When Joe arrived in Vietnam, this is what happened.
First day we got there,
Right.
they didn't have nowhere. It was the first day we got there. They didn't have nowhere to put us. That
Really?
night, nowhere.
Well, I'm sure they took you down to a 5-star hotel downtown Saigon.
They set up tents for us.
Tents?
Tents. I mean, big tents, but you know, you get in, you have to bunker them on.
Air conditioned too, right?
Yeah, air conditioning. It really got air conditioned. The same night that they set them up that day, typhoon hit.
Oh, really?
Typhoon hit.
Blew all the tents
And
down.
next morning, there wasn't no tents left. They were gone. And they put us in a shower stall.
Okay.
You had boards up where you cover your body, and the rest of it was screen wire.
Yeah.
And all of us looked like Granny Reps when we come out. We had our duffel bags with us and everything. My duffel bag, I never dried that.
Right.
I never did see it no more. I ain't seen it since.
Oh, really?
I never see a duffel bag, but one time, that's when I went on R&R.
Now, Joe, let me stop you. My duffel bag had my fatigues and my combat boots and all that stuff in it. So that went away. Where'd you get a uniform?
They give us.
Oh, they gave you replacements.
They give us replacements.
Okay.
But mine, it was so wet and all.
Right. Probably rotted anyway.
It was right funky.
Probably in a landfill over there
Right, yeah.
somewhere.
But now dress clothes, now they had some way they did. They saved my dress clothes.
Oh, they did?
Dried them out and all. Because I used them when I went on R&R.
Then he tells us about the food he ate.
I called it roast pork in a can.
Yeah, right.
You had your can, and then you had a cracker in it. Then I'd take mine and put it on, open it up, open the can up, take my pork slices and lay it on and put a heating pad on it to cook it.
Yeah, right.
It was good.
Well, the thing you haven't said, and I was picking it, did you ever have sliced peaches?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love it.
That was my favorite thing in a sea ration.
Fruit cocktail
Yeah.
in them cans.
But it was sea rations most of the
Most
time.
of the time.
When you weren't in the jungle, though, did you ever have a hot meal?
It was warm.
Right.
Not
Oh,
hot.
okay. Okay. Well, everything was warm.
Next, he recalls a major combat interaction.
May the 12th is when we lost our whole recon platoon.
The whole platoon?
We lost everybody.
Wait a minute. A platoon is 30 or 40 guys?
No, you didn't have that many in the recon.
Oh, okay.
You might have had, I think, they ended up. It seemed like to me they had it might have been 18 or something like that.
Okay, but that's still a big...
That's a big thing, for one day.
Now, when you said lost, dead or wounded or both?
That old, never seen them more.
Oh, they were gone.
They were gone.
Woo.
I don't even know if they
Could they have been
brought the
captured?
bodies back. I think some of them had to be.
Wow. Man,
'Cause
that's
last
tough.
time they heard the lieutenant, then they get them when they come through the bunker door.
Okay.
That's the last words he said.
Wow. So, this is Mother's Day of 68. Where were you as a unit that day?
Camp Duck.
Say again?
Camp Duck.
Where is that?
And a Special Forces camp way on up north.
Oh. But still in South Vietnam, but up against the DMZ. Was it as far north as Pleiku?
I was trying to remember where that was at there.
Camp Duck, though.
Camp Duck was a camp, they called it the Camp Duck. That was
Okay.
the camp, the Special Forces camp. They sent us up to help them out. This was supposed to be a get together and we'd be going. We was there for 3 days.
Okay. And when you say Special Forces, we're talking Green Berets.
Oh yeah, bad boys.
The tough ones.
The tough ones.
And they sent you guys to get... Oh, they must have been really getting some stuff.
They were human ways.
NVA or VC?
NVA.
Oh, okay.
And this is the bad boys.
Woo.
We stayed there for 3 days, and I can just about say, couldn't sleep. I might have got 6 hours sleep.
Maybe.
If I got that much.
It was never ending. It was...
Day and night.
Wow.
Rounds coming in, rounds going out. That's back. I done got my mortars. I was in the mortars then.
Okay.
They give us mortars that one thing. And I stayed in that. We had trenches. Oh, it's long trenches where they had the mortars set up in it, more than one. And it was 3 days and 3 nights, just continuously.
So they resupplied you with mortar rounds by helicopter, huh? Wow.
They've had some of them, and we never did lose one there. But it had been to lose some of them, that already had around on.
Right. So, here you are in this firefight supporting the Green Berets. Did you have artillery and air support out there?
We had everything.
Okay.
Our whole battalion was there.
Wow, that's a lot of guys.
That's a lot of men. Whole battalion, the artillery, jeeps, everything in there.
So this was a major fight. This wasn't just let's go back to this recon patrol. You suppose they got ambushed?
They was at the same place I was talking about, Cam Duck. That's where we lost them.
Okay.
And they had to go out,
Right.
Just like they send them out to recon,
Yeah.
But nobody come out.
When asked if he was afraid when he was in Vietnam, Joe's parting words were,
Weren't you afraid?
At times.
Yeah.
But I think the longer you go, when I first got there, don't get me wrong, I was. They were scared. You had one thought. They said, when did you get scared? I said, when you first get there, when you get ready to leave.
That's exactly right. Those days in between, you don't even think about it.
You don't think about it.
One way is, what am I into, and am I ever going to get home? Okay, go ahead.
That's all you think about. And at the time, you get to where the way I feel about it now, and everything. At times, you get to where you didn't care.
Right.
You couldn't care. If you got that on your mind so bad, the next time you would get killed.
Right.
You had to think about it. The only thing you think about is getting me out of there.
Joseph Carter earned the Purple Heart and Bronze Star medals during his service. Now we will hear from Connie Steadman, peacetime veteran, United States Air Force, 1958 through 1960. Connie arrived at Lackland Air Force Base in 1958 for basic training. She was assigned to a women's unit with women instructors. When she arrived, the length of her hair was addressed.
We didn't have to cut our hair, but we had to be able to fix it up where the
under your hand, right?
Sort of be not touching
our
blouse.
Okay.
We either had to, keep pinning it up or cut it.
Okay.
One or two. So I chose to cut mine because I figured it would take too much time.
Well, your hair is beautiful today, but it couldn't have been nearly that long when you were in.
It was longer than this when I went in, and a little bit thicker too.
Okay.
So I knew I would have a time
getting
it up and right where it would fit underneath my cap in the time period we had. So I just cut mine up above the shoulder.
At basic training, as a new recruit, she was kept busy and hungry.
And the other thing about basic training, I stayed hungry all the time.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because we were doing so much activity and marching and all. And we would, you weren't supposed to take food in your room.
Yep.
And my roommates, and my bed was always filled with chocolate chip crumbs. And we'd get chewed out about it, so we got smart. We stopped eating in bed. We just used our flashlight and set up and ate.
Right.
But it was good.
Yeah, sure.
It was fun. I loved it. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Connie loved singing and discovered that her roommates liked singing too.
So you and these two Caucasian girls ended up in the same room, but you're the Andrews sisters.
Yes.
I'm sorry, the McGuire sisters.
Whichever one. But we sang good together. We sounded good, and everybody loved it. We sing all the time when we got a chance when we weren't working.
Really? Isn't that a blessing?
It was. I guess it was a blessing for me because I like to sing. And I've been around all my life. So.
But
so even I didn't leave it.
From my perspective, going in the service has some anxiety to it. You're away from home. You're a long way from home. You're mixed in with a lot of strangers. The community is pretty diverse because you've got a lot of different ethnicities there. But you've got a common denominator. Besides being in the Air Force, now you've got this common singing thing. What a blessing that must have been.
Yes, it was. Because a couple of times I got homesick. Because, like I said, I had never been away. But being busy,
Right.
It kind of takes your mind
Yes.
off of that. But it was great because I think to them, the music calmed us down inside and gave us another focus
Right.
that made us happy.
Although Connie served during peacetime, she still had to fight to stay in the military.
When I started getting sick and I was going to the dispensary,
Yeah.
they didn't know what it was,
Right.
and they could only do, I guess, so many tests.
Sure.
And when I explained to them what was happening,
Right.
and they couldn't find it, they tried to say that I was imagining it.
Oh,
and
they couldn't come up with an answer, so it had to be your problem.
Right. And so they asked me if I ended up asking because of where the pain was.
Yeah.
They asked me if I was pregnant.
Right.
And I told them no.
No.
And they said, we're going to do a pregnancy test anyway. Pregnancy test came back positive.
It did.
Yes.
Okay.
And they didn't.
But you weren't pregnant.
I wasn't.
It was just a false positive.
They wouldn't listen to anything I had to say. My wife commander would not listen to me. I
Really?
had no one to talk to.
I'm
no
sorry.
one, and they started processing me for discharge, and they discharged me on pregnancy.
Really?
Yes.
So let me be sure I understand this. Men never have this problem because men can't be pregnant. In the time you were in the service, could a woman be discharged for being pregnant? Really?
Pregnant women were not allowed in the military at that time.
Amazing. So even though you weren't pregnant, and because their crappy tests didn't prove what was really going on, they discharged you from the Air Force for being pregnant? Did you ever sue them?
Well, what happened when I was at separation,
Yeah.
and after I'd gone through that, I was just sitting there, and the separation officer came over to me and asked me what was wrong. And I said, I've been discharged for something that's not true. I have nobody to turn to. I have no way of proving it. And
Somebody that listened,
he
anyway.
said, well, tell me what happened. And so I told him, he said, well, I don't want you to leave right now. I'm going to send you back to the dispensary. I want them to re-diagnose you.
Okay.
And the way that it was, they re-diagnosed me and it came back negative.
After
And
they
he
put
said,
you all through
there's
this
something
stuff?
going on. He said, but I don't know what it is, but we're going to give you, I'm going to put in that you get this DD 215.
Okay.
So you'll be able to re-enlist.
Okay.
And he
Did
said,
you want to do that?
I did, because I didn't want to get out, but I didn't want to stay there.
No, I got it.
And he said, now, you can stay here. He said, and we'll look into this. I said, no. I said, as humiliated as I am and embarrassed as I am, and nobody on my corner, I said, I wouldn't dare stay here. I'd rather get out and re-enlist for another base.
Okay.
So that's what I did.
Oh, you did?
I did. I got out, and then I re-enlisted. But I don't know what they was putting me off. They kept telling me, we got to get the quota. We got to get the quota filled. So I just said, the heck with it.
Right.
I don't even want to be bothered with it. And so I just felt that maybe it just wasn't meant for me to be
Yeah,
in there.
maybe. God works in a lot of different ways.
Connie is proud of her military honors.
The women in military service memorial in Washington,
Yeah.
I'm one of the charter members
Oh, okay.
of that
Monument?
monument that's there. In fact, I was there. I went up. Of course, the charter members invited. I was there when all the installation was done.
Oh, great.
And I visited once. Since then, I took my granddaughter,
Right.
and she was just amazed. She could pull my picture up and see my picture, and also my sister's pictures there. And she wrote. They had a comment book that you could write, and she wrote on there about her grandma being in the Air Force. So
Isn't that great?
it's nice. I said it was nice to have that, and I was glad to be a part of that.
But you told me, and in fact, Fred Smith had told me, that your handprint is also a part of the Airborne Museum in Fayetteville. Talk
Yes.
to me about that.
Well, Fred came, approached me and told me he wanted to include me with the other three that he had selected
Right.
to be a part of that memorial there.
Right.
And so they came, I'm not sure who the lady was, they came here and did the mold for the hands here.
Right.
And then when they had the actual opening, I attended that, and
Right.
then we were able to see the columns outside
Right.
with the counting with the hand. The hands are not identified. They're only the arm of the veteran who's inside the building is
Okay.
identified. But I still feel that was a great honor. It's a,
I do too.
permanent memorial there.
We thank Julius Neal Watlington, Joseph Carter, Connie Steadman, and all of the veterans of Caswell County for their service to our country.